You ready for some heads to explode? I have the man who is top of class in political commentary, Bill Maher. How is the old school liberal who says the Democratic Party left him in its woke wake more relevant than ever? And is it true? Is he about to meet the man he criticizes most of all? Bill Maher headed to the White House? For real?
In today's video, we're diving into two powerful conversations shaking up the left, one with Bill Maher, the other with Gavin Newsom. And no, these aren't your typical partisan talking points. In a political landscape dominated by groupthink, cancel culture, and constant finger-pointing, Maher and Newsom are doing something rare, speaking uncomfortable truths and reaching across the aisle. Bill Maher isn't just calling out Republicans, he's turning the spotlight on his own side, exposing the contradictions and double standards that exist within both parties. At the same time, Gavin Newsom is catching serious heat from progressives for doing the unthinkable, sitting down with ideological opponents like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk, not to pander, but to have real, tough conversations. Why? Because they both recognize a hard truth. The Democratic Party isn't just misunderstood, it's at risk. And if it doesn't address its internal problems head-on, no amount of surface-level unity is going to fix it. In this video, we'll break down their most honest and eye-opening moments, from calling out performative outrage, to tackling California's broken systems, to confronting environmental threats that politicians continue to ignore. If you're ready to look past the political theater and get to the real issues, stick around. Let's get into it.
You're talking about the Democratic Party said if we don't get our shit together, we're going to be a permanent minority. Doing something about it. I applaud it. I think it's great. You've got this podcast. You're talking to people. You know, it's amazing to me that even that is controversial to some people. They call it platforming. If you talk to someone you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I feel like this country is divided into owners and healers. People who think you can own the other side. Gavin Newsom owned DeSantis.
Yeah.
DeSantis destroyed Gavin Newsom. Or people who want to talk and heal. And I feel like the next president's going to be, at least if it comes from this party, the Democratic Party, someone who wants to talk and heal. And I feel like we're doing it.
It's really been interesting, the reaction to the podcast. I mean, we had some controversial figures on, I'll acknowledge that, and Steve Bannon, Charlie Kirk, and some others. But you're right. I mean, this idea that we can't even have a conversation with the other side.
You have to. They won.
Thank you. That's it, bottom line. And by the way, or the notion we just have to continue to talk to ourselves or we're in the same damn echo chamber. These guys are crushing us. The Democratic brand is toxic right now. We had a high water mark 2 weeks ago, and that was a CNN poll at 29% favorability. It's dropped in the NBC poll down to 27%. It's one thing to make noise, but you also have to make sense. And I think with this podcast and having the opportunity to dialogue with people I disagree with, it's an opportunity to try to find common ground and not take cheap shots. I'm not looking to put a spoke in the wheel of their, or at least a crowbar in the spokes of their wheel to trip them up, to your point. And I think it's important. Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. This notion of cancel culture, you've been living it. You've been on the receiving end of it for years and years and years.
The Democratic Party is in crisis, but not because of attacks from the outside. The real danger is coming from within. Bill Maher and Gavin Newsom are among the few voices on the left willing to say what others won't. Things are falling apart, and party leadership is too distracted or too afraid to face it. Maher doesn't sugarcoat it. He calls the party's brand toxic, not just misunderstood, and he's got a point. Public trust is tanking, approval ratings are slipping, and the base is growing restless. Meanwhile, Newsom is breaking ranks by doing something bold, engaging with voices the far left would rather silence than confront. Talking to figures like Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk hasn't earned him applause, it's triggered backlash. But Newsom isn't doing it for praise. He's doing it because he knows that real progress can't happen in an echo chamber. Here's the bottom line. A movement that can't handle disagreement isn't built to last. Maher and Newsom have had enough of the outrage cycles and ideological purity tests. They're focused on something bigger, preserving democracy by engaging with dissent, not canceling it. Their message to the Democratic Party is clear. Stop isolating, start listening. Because if the party doesn't evolve, and fast, it won't just lose the next election. It'll have no one to blame but itself.
Obsessed with how to do things differently. And you
Totally.
You don't even hear them talking about it.
Well, you certainly hear Newsom talking about it. He said he's just started this podcast. I'm sure you heard that. He said he was modeling it on what I do on Real Time. He said, I want to talk to other people. His first guest was Charlie Kirk, who could be not more be on the other side. I like this. I like the new Newsom. I've been asking for this Newsom for a long time. So I think he's a great candidate if he was more of a centrist Democrat, and he seems like he wants to be. So I think it's great, and I can't wait till Friday and talk to him.
And I can't wait to see what he says about what he's got working to make that not happen again when the fires come again.
Well, the whole thing is about this state is just so fucked with over taxes and over regulation.
Sure.
I mean, I last time he was on, I was, kidding him about the fact that I took 3 years to get my solar power turned on. Now I just had my roof redone because of the fires, because now I want a fireproof roof. 2 inspections, and you have to pay for those inspections, They're not free. And I asked this on the show last week. I see it got picked up by a lot of people. Why do I have to have inspectors looking at my roof? It's my roof. If it falls on my head, that's my problem. I don't need the government looking over my shoulder here. And this is why we can't get anything done in this thing. The government is just too in our fucking business. And he was on last January, and I asked him about this and the red tape, and he had a big answer about, well, we're blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm going to find out what the exact blah, 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 blah was, and see now that it's a year and 3 months later, what's been done.
When it comes to state-level dysfunction, California stands out as a paradox. Progressive ideals wrapped in layers of bureaucratic red tape. Bill Maher doesn't hold back. He takes aim at the state's endless regulations, high taxes, and constant delays that stall progress on the very issues California claims to lead on. Want to install solar panels or upgrade to a fireproof roof? Prepare for a maze of permits and years of waiting. This in a state that prides itself on fighting climate change. Wildfires rage year after year, yet urgency is nowhere to be found. Instead of cutting through the red tape, California's leaders pile on more rules, slowing down solutions until they lag behind the disasters themselves. Maher's frustration isn't just a personal rant. It's a reflection of a deeper systemic failure, a state that talks big about progress but often trips over its own process.